Hi everyone and welcome to the first ever floristry school lesson at my place. Those of you who don't know me, my name is Astar and I have had requests from all around the world in regard to my fundamentals of floristry and could I do more in-depth floristry. So that is exactly what we are going to do, and this is lesson number 1. I've been doing floristry for 40 plus years. I started as a young girl and it has taken me years and years and years to learn my craft, but I've learned easy tips along the way that hopefully will help you achieve the profession of floristry. We're going to do everything from high bowls to low bowls to informal bowls to posies for a wedding bouquet to informal garden posies for a wedding, and if you wanted to make something fit for a princess, I'll show you how to make Kate Middleton's bouquet. Right, that's the introduction. We've got a lot to get through. Give me a few moments to just clear the decks, to get the foliage and all the things that you need, and we will be on our journey. Are you ready? Sleeves up. Let's look at what you need for a basic round bowl. And if you're thinking, why are we doing a basic round bowl? The reason I want to do that is once you have mastered this, you can do anything because it's always going to be balanced. Now, as an example, I thought I would get this orange and I would cut that orange in half. We've got a round, and then when we cut it in half, we have a round upside down. The round bowl is so easy to achieve if you always remember that you've cut an orange in half and there it is. So from that point down to there, from that point down to there, from that point down to there, and from that point down to there, that is a perfect round. And as I said, I'll say it one more time, once you get that sorted out, you will never go wrong. This mandarin here would never be the perfect shape because it's flat, whereas that's round. And when they talk about things going pear-shaped, let me just show you a pear. It is pear-shaped and it is out of balance, whereas that lovely round orange is perfectly balanced. Here or there, but nothing in nature is perfect, so please don't knock yourself around trying to get it balanced. Right, the other thing that we need is a bowl. Now these are just the basic bowls that they use in the industry. They come in 3-4 sizes. I'm going to use that size today. Right, putting that there, I'll put that to one side. Let's look at Oasis. There are 2 types of Oasis. There's the green Oasis, which will suck up 10 times its own weight in water and has been designed to hold fresh flowers. This grey foam has got a denser, harder fibre, and that is what you use for doing silk or artificial or dried flower arrangements into. This grey one does not need to be soaked, but the green one does. So let's just strike that offset and we'll bring this in. Now, you cut it to the size that you need. For a bowl this size, I like to use half a block and, oh, it's a terrible sound. More is better than less because we're going to be using lots of flowers. Now, to soak that, just get a bucket, put some water into it and just let that float until, don't push it down, just let it float until all the bubbles have stopped rising to the surface, and then you will know it's ready to go. And if it's still a wee bit wet, just take it out and put it onto a handy towel or a kitchen towel until all the excess water has been removed. Now this can take anything from, say, a couple of minutes to 5 minutes, but just leave it there and it will sink to the bottom, and as I said, the bubbles will stop rising to the surface. Right, I have one that is all ready to go here, getting rid of the fruit, and as I said, it's as easy as, just cutting that in half like that, put that to one side, and then push that into there like that. Now, because that is jammed and wedged in there, that is not going to come out. Now, it's almost like, when you know that your egg whites are ready and you turn it upside down and the egg whites don't fall onto your head. If that's really firmly wedged into there, it won't come off. Now, if you are a little bit concerned, what you can do is get a rubber band and take your rubber band from there over to the other side. But what I find invariably happens is the rubber band cuts into the foam, or when you go to put your central flowers in, what will happen is you'll have a little area that you can't quite get into. So that's what I like to do. Right, once you've got to there, it's now moving on to your foliage and your flowers. So give me a couple of seconds to clear the decks and I'll get the flowers and foliage out and we can start. Right, here is my bowl, I'm ready to go. Let's look at foliage and let's have a chat about it, and let's chat about how long it should be. Right, when it comes to your basic bowl, I like to use 3 or 4 different combinations of foliage. The reason I do this is because it gives visual interest to the design. Now, I like to use a grey base or a cool base foliage, which is what I've got here with the 2 foliages in front of me. This here's lamb's ear, and that there's a dusty miller. Now, before we go any further, I need you to know that I'm going to, for the first exercise and example, I'm going to show you this in artificial. It works exactly the same in fresh, but I thought that if I do artificial, then I can keep that as an example that we can refer back to as we go through the varying lessons. So there's your grey base, and the other thing that's really lovely about this is when you look into that dusty miller, although it's the colours are both the same, you've got this lovely texture around this leaf against this lovely texture here, which is round. So they're both same colourway, but they've got different shapes. Already that's going to give a bit of visual interest. So that's one lot of foliage. You could even use blue gum, or you could use a grey-based conifer. Right, then when it comes to foliage, the other green foliage, I've got this over here, which is a dark green, very like a camellia or a tea or whatever you've got that you can find. So you've got your dark there against this ivy, which is light. They're both, even though that is dark, it's still a warm base because of the yellow that's coming out of the ivy. Now, I have seen arrangements in the past from some of my viewers, and they've said to me, oh, Astar, it's just not right, and it's normal. And with the couple of examples that I've seen is you've done the perfect round collar, but it's been too heavy for the type of flower that you're using, but we will cover visual and actual balance and weights of colour in due course. Now, so there's 2 lovely contrasts. So you've got this lovely dark green, and then you've got this lovely yellowy base, which is nice and warm. Now, the other thing to think about is with your complementary colours and tones and shades and textures is some things will work really well together and some things won't. Those 2 work really nicely together, and so do these 2 here, except they are the same colourway, but I've got this lovely leaf shape here of the ivy beside the prickliness here of the, I think it's supposed to be a rosemary, but when you see the 2 together, you've got that form and that form, so you've got another bit of visual stimulation for the eye. Now, when it comes to this maidenhair fern, putting that maidenhair fern with that green is sort of kind of a waste of space because you can't actually see the 2 complementary tones, and they just look like they all merge in together. So that would go nicely with that, and that would go nicely with that because of the forms. That and that would work, but it's still, as you can see, it's okay, but it's not really as stimulating as what that is with that lovely contrast. So that's a little bit of chat on the balancing of our forms and our textures. Give me a few minutes and I'll get rid of everything, and then we will getting into actual construction. And you might think, oh, I can't be bothered listening to her going on about that, but this will all start to make sense to you in a very short time. The next question you'll be asking is, how do you know how long to cut the foliage? Now, the general rule of thumb is 1.5 times the height or the width of the container, whichever is the greatest. Now, that's how I was raised and how I was taught to do it. And it used to cause me absolute total confusion because is it 1.5 times from there to there for this type of arrangement? So would that mean that you went, how did that all work? To put it quite simply and quite easily, it is the length from there to there. So it's still going to be 1.5 times, but we're not going to go from that exact middle. So it would be 1.5 times from there, so there's a half, and then it would go out to there. As I said, we're not working in that middle bit. We're actually going to go from the outside and form a collar and go out this way. Now, what I like to do is to just get my foliage like that, lay it across, and then allow just a little bit for sticking into the foam and then cut that off. So that is how long you know that it's going to be, and we're going to go in from that side there. So I hope that all made sense, but as we go over it, it will start to make sense. Now, once you have decided on the foliages that you're going to use, what I suggest you do is cut and lay everything out before you start. Now, the next thing I wanted to tell you is there is like, and just imagine that through there is an imaginary line. So I'll just put a wee line down there. And because we're going to do the perfect round bowl, all you need to remember is what you do on this side, you're going to do on that side. So just imagine that you had a mirror and your mirror was there. So whatever happened here is going to happen on that side. And because it's going to be a round bowl, it all has to be the same length before we start. And just go back and have a look at the orange that I cut in half. It was perfectly balanced from that point down to there. That's what we have to achieve here. Now, everything has all been cut out, and as I said, it's the right length. So what you're doing on that side, remember that line down there or that mirror, and you put that into that side. I like to start with the heavy foliages to start with. Right, I've got, how many bits of this have I got? I've got 6 bits. So I'm going to put one into there. Because I've done that, come across to the other side and put that into there. And then I've got one piece left, so I'm going to put that into there. I've got this bit here, but I've got 2 bits, but to put them in, I'm not going to be balanced. So for this exercise, if in doubt, always leave it out. Right, the next lot of foliage I've got is the ivy. So let's bring the ivy in, and let's go into that point there, one into there, one into there. Now, if the ivy's a little bit longer, don't worry about that, because ivy's got a life of its own anyway. Right, from there, we'll bring a piece over to there. Because I did it there, I'm going to bring that over to there. Now, just to reiterate, before I said that the grey foam was for these artificial forms, but I like to cheat it and put fresh things in. So don't worry about me using this artificial, the green at this stage, because I actually prefer it because it's much, much heavier than what the dry stuff is. Okay, what have I got here? I've got another couple of bits. So now I'm going to put a piece into there, and I'm going to bring a piece over to here, and I've got 3 more bits left. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a bit into there, and I'm going to put a piece into there. Now, I could have put a bit into there and a bit into there, and if you do a piece there, just remember that you've got to do it on the other side. Right, the next thing to go in are the lamb's ears. Now I'm going to put one there, and then I'm going to bring the other one over to this side. And I've got one bit that I'm going to put into there, and then I'm going to bring this over to this side. So see how it's all starting to move into this really lovely form of all of these lovely, interesting shades and tones and textures. This will make your bowl visually interesting at the end of the day. Right, I've now got 3 pieces of I've got 4 pieces of this. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put a piece into there. So I've actually gone from the outside and I'm stepping in. So I'll put a bit there. Now, because I've done that, I need to bring a bit into there. I've got this piece here, so I'm going to put that to there. And then because I've done that, I'm going to bring that into there like so. The other thing is, I didn't tell you that whatever happens at the base of your design, for that transition, that actually needs to come back into the design. Now, I've got one piece there, but I actually don't have anything around there connecting it in. So the next thing I'll do is I'll get those 2 bits that I saved, and I'll put a piece into there, and then I'm going to put a piece into there. Now, I've got this line running through here, which is seriously not the right thing to be doing. So, and as I said, if you cut everything before you start your construction, you won't have to have that stop and start. So because I've got that running through there, I think I just need to bring a piece there, and I need to bring a piece into there. Now we have got some balance. Right, the next thing I wanted to get onto was, let's put in some fillers. So there's your base foliage in. So what I'd like you to do is, it doesn't matter whether you're using fresh or artificial, you just practice and practice and practice that during the course of the week, and I can guarantee that by the time you've done it about 5 times, you will be an expert. Right, that's my base flowers. Let's look at filler flowers. Now, filler flowers are things like this. I really like a Queen Anne's lace. I really love this. And the other thing that's really nice about it, if you ever get stuck and you're not sure of what colours to use, look at the foliage that you're using and also look at your filler flowers. And I think of all of the arts, floristry or floral art is by far the easiest because nature's already coloured everything for you. All you have to do is to look at those colours there and say, ah, yes, that works. And then looking at the ivy down there, look at those two colours. See, they work together because they're of the same family of colours. Right. Also, when I look into that, I see that little bit of white there, and it's actually reflected in the little downy colouring of the lambs there. Okay, I'm going to change things around now, and I'm going to go into the middle, and then I'm going to go down there. Because I did that there, I need to come over to this area here because that's going from side to side. And with artificial, don't forget that they do come in a flat box from China, so you do have to move them around. Okay, so I've got a line running through there, and now I need to bring a line running through from there. Because I've done that there, I need to repeat that on the other side, so it's always reflecting back. What's happening here is happening there. Right, the other thing that I've got are these little, they look like little wee garden mums with their little wee buds closed. I've got 2 of those, so, and they're just a little bit too long, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut that bit, that central bit in there out, get rid of that bit there, and I'm just going to put a piece there, and I'm going to put a piece on the other side. I only had 2 bits. Well, I've got 4 bits, but I can't use those because they're too short. They probably could hide and tuck into there, but the whole lesson today is keeping everything the same length. Right, let's just give it a wee rest for a minute. I'll clear the decks and I'll finish off by putting in the flowers. Are you working with me? I hope you are, and I hope that you're learning lots because I want you to be experts by the time we finish. Okay, now it's time for the flowers. At the same time that you are cutting all of your foliage, cut all of your flowers. But before we start putting in the flowers, what I want to achieve here is a monochromatic harmonied floral design, which means shades, tones and tints of one colour. I'm going to start off with white because white's a really hard colour to work with. It's like on the scale, the colour spectrum and the colour balance wheel, black and white equal the same. So with the whites, I thought if we started off by using those, then I could sort of fill you in how things work. Now, I've got a little bit of stuff that looks like blossom there. I've got some Gypsophila and I've got 3 sizes of roses. Now, when it comes to placing these, there is a little rule. The furthest anything is from the axis or the main focal, which is this area in here, they get lighter and lighter and lighter. However, because it's a round bowl, as long as you position all of those flowers correctly, exactly like we did with the foliage, you will never go wrong. So I'm going to start off with the blossom, and I'm going to start from the base again. So everything's all been cut to the same length. So what I've done on this side, I'm going to do on this side. And it's getting a little bit hard to put my forms in here though. No, at the moment though. So what I've done there, I'm going to do there. I'm going to then put one over to there, and I'm going to bring the other one over to this side. And I'm actually to just show you, I'm just going into that little point just in there down at the base. So that's covered, that's covered. I've got 2 more pieces. I'm going to put a piece into there, and then I'm going to bring a piece over to there. So that's, even though it looks like it's hidden, it's actually not hidden. Now I've got 2 bits left, and as I said, what happens around the outside actually needs to happen in the inside. So where I've put that little mum there, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put these on either side of that. And if they point in, don't worry about it, because look, nothing's perfect in nature, so don't you try and beat yourself up. Okay, so that's got that in. Now, normally I would put the Gypsophila in, but I'm going to wait until the end because I might have what's known in the profession as a void, which is just a big hole. Right, I've got my roses here. Now I've got more of these little roses than I have of the others. Now I'm going to go into the middle, and then I'm going to go to the other side of that. From there, I'm now going to bring another one into there. I've got one that I'm going to put into there. Get into there, you little rose. Oops, I have to just... Oh, I can see what's going on here. This, because it's artificial, the little rubber thing came off it. Right, one into there. Because that's over there, we'll put another one into there. Now, I'm going to bring one down between those 2 points into there. Because that's happened, I'm going to have to bring one over to there. I know it sounds like I'm repeating myself and you're probably sick of me, but I have to do this so that we're all up to speed. Right, now because I put one there and I put one there, I need to come around to there and place one. Because that's gone into there, I need to go over to there. And I'm just going down at that base where we put that very first lot of foliage. Okay, where have I got a little space? Right, I've got a little space there. So I'll put that there, and then I'm going to bring that, and I'm going to put that into there. I've got 2 left, and I'm just thinking where I could put it. And about now, I'm a bit stumped as where to put it, so I'm not going to do anything. I'm just going to leave those out. Right, I'm now going to go into my next size, which is these here, and I've got 2, 4, I've got 6. So between that placement and that placement, I'm going to put that. Because I've done that there, I'm going to put that into there. Now the roses can be up and down. They don't have to be all at the same level. If there's a little space, just put it into there. Right, one's gone to there. I've got a little space in here, so I'm going to put that there, and then I'm going to bring that over to there. See how round it's all starting to be? So all of this should all be sort of kind of the right roundness, as should this and as should this, just like the orange. Now I've got 2 left, and I'm not quite sure what to do with those, so I'm going to leave those out. Now, I've got 4 of these bigger roses. Now, you notice that I've got the little roses up the top that come down to meet the little roses down the bottom, and I've got an intermediate size or a medium-sized rose in the middle of those. Right, with these 5, or the 4 that I've got, I'm going to have to equally place these around the dimensions of this bowl. And the other thing I want to tell you is, if you ever start doing a round bowl, just use round flowers, round bowl, and you won't go wrong. Right, I've got this little rose here, which I'm going to take to the base. And I haven't quite got into graduation of forms yet, but we will cover that. Just bear with me. So that big rose can go down to there, and then let's put that other big rose down there. So the bigger and heavier it is, put it to the base of your design. So one's in there, one's in there. Let's just bring that and place that there. Because I've done that, it's just a matter of bringing that and putting that into there like that. Perfectly balanced. Right, as I look around here, I can see a few holes. That's when this stuff here, called Gypsophila, which I call a filler, comes in very, very handy. So we'll put a piece into there, a piece into there. And the other thing is, I always like to use the delicate forms at this stage. Now, I've all of a sudden hit a little problem. Now, my problem is that is sticking out more than most of my other flowers. So if you can see that happening, just take that out and push that down into there. Because what we're trying to do with the gyp, by using the gyp, is to just fill in a wee few holes. So I've put a piece there, a piece there. Let's put a piece into here, and look how much easier it is because everything is at the right length and cut to the right length. So that goes to there. I'm going to bring a little piece. Ooh, I'm fast running out of room in here, but no, that's okay. Put that into there, and with these other pieces, so that's covered that hole there, there and there. Let's now put a little bit into there, and then I'll bring that other piece into there like so. And with my last piece, let's just bring that into the middle like that. There you have the perfect round bowl. And as I said at the beginning, if you can get this sorted out right now, when it comes to making a posy of flowers, it's exactly the same process. These flowers here, if I wanted to, now that I'm looking at it, I'm thinking, now what could I do? There's a wee space there. Let's put that into there. And have I got a wee space over there? Yes, I have. Let's not waste it. And I've got those two there. What will I do with those? I can put one into there like that. And then I've got another little space over there, so I can put that down into there. But wait until you get to the end before you decide. Now, once you get to there, step back and leave it alone. The fiddling is what is going to cause your issues. Now, from this basic little bowl, you could use this for a wedding. You could use this for a dinner party. The other thing that you could do is you could put that into a basket. Beautiful basket for a lovely outdoor wedding or to give away as a gift. From there, I've got a couple of little containers. I've got this container here. So this little posy here could be put into that. And look how much grander it looks just by taking it up. Now, there are some rules that we'll get into in due course about bringing this here down into the urn. But when I look into it, I really love that rustic finish of that urn. So, and also the colour of the container, which we'll also cover in due course, sort of adds to the type of design that you're doing. Now, the other thing that you could do, even taking it from there, look what happens when you take it down. A completely different look. So this looks like it's very grand and delicious to something that's just a little bit lower for a lovely occasional table. Now that's about as much information as I think that we can all absorb today. Next lesson, lesson 2, is going to be making this in exactly the same format, but we're going to attack it with fresh flowers, because there are a few little things that you have to cover when we get to fresh forms. Right, I hope you've enjoyed that. I've enjoyed spending time with you, our first lesson, and I will see you soon.